If you saw this video and clicked on it, I'm willing to bet you also saw a lot of videos about the increasingly mainstream gym content on your recommended page. And you're probably getting curious about what lifting weights and working out is all about. Now, unless you live under a rock, you know what a gym is, you know what working out is, like dudes throwing heavy metal around and stuff. But you don't necessarily know why it's done, or if it's even something that you'd want to do, or if it's right for you. So, in this video, I'd like to give my shot at one, explaining the numerous benefits that working out or general exercise has to offer for you. And two, I'd like to convince you to start working out today, hopefully, or tomorrow, doesn't matter. Now, the first benefit, and I'd argue is the most important in the long term, so I should probably save it for last, is your longevity and your quality of life. Or simply put, how long you're going to live for. It will increase and improve when you challenge your muscles consistently. A study was conducted in 2023 involving over 90,000 people. And I'll link this in the description, but it was comparing the life expectancy before and after a 7-year interval of regular exercise. The average lifespan increased by nearly 5 years. See, it doesn't sound like a lot of time in relation to an entire life, but just stop. Imagine what you could do in 5 years. This should be evidence enough to stop what you're doing. Go on to the gym, drive right now, go. But, I'll go ahead and overkill my persuasion anyways. So you're going to be happier when you go to the gym. You'll just live a more free life. You'll have newly gained strength, newly found self-discipline, and your life will just be higher quality all around. Like, I don't even need a source for this. Just go to the gym and ask around. Ask those guys, and you're going to get the same answers. I guarantee it. And the reason for this is as simple as you'll just be healthier than you were before. Your heart health, your joint health, all of them will improve. I mean, it's basically common knowledge that raising the heart rate causes your heart to work harder, and it'll make it adapt, make it learn, just become stronger in general. But it's all right if you don't know that. Just take my word. And lifting weights will also improve your joints, contrary to some belief of it making your joints worse. But please know that will actually happen if you're not careful. Just don't do anything stupid when you're in the gym. Your joint health is important, and if you use weight that you can't handle, if you use bad technique during your exercises, which I'll elaborate on that eventually, or if you move way too quickly, you'll end up making, I'd say, backwards progress. So avoid doing that. Your joints will thank you. And hey, I know mine did too. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is inflammation of the joints, at the age of 10. And I experienced a lot of discomfort doing movements, say like leg extensions, where the knee is moving in a very large range of motion. So I started applying this criteria, and I noticed improvements in merely weeks. I also got a little jacked, so that's cool too. Basically, controlling your weight is a game of calories in, calories out. But there is a way through the gym that you can eat high calories while also losing fat. This is because your body needs calories to maintain any sort of weight, regardless of what it is. So having high amounts of muscle will burn the calories that would have otherwise turned to fat. So in a nutshell, a 195-pound body takes a set amount of calories, regardless of what that body's made of. Muscle, fat, big bones, who knows? That's basic math. Who needs evidence for that? And a little disclaimer, I do have evidence. It's all in the description if you're curious to learn anymore. Hey, if you're not on your way to the gym by now, I think I know what'll get you there. Just listen. Cancer. You heard me right. Cancer. It is clinically proven that just by having more muscle mass, you have better odds of surviving most cancers. And not only that, but the whole process will be better, such as the fatigue, the bodily and brain functions that go with treatment and having cancer, and all of the above and below, and whatever. And this is highly hypothetical, and many will just brush this fact off, but this is incredible to me. The gym has been the cure for cancer all along. No guarantees. Don't quote me on that. I joke, but I know cancer is a serious topic, and it's affected a lot of you either directly or through family and friends, and I don't mean to downplay the harshness of it by any means. Now, these benefits are all nice, and I hope you're starting to consider starting your fitness journey, but many of these physical benefits aren't immediately perceivable to most, and might not even be a great source of motivation for some people. What will hook most people, though, are the mental effects and advantages that come with lifting weights. This section will be shorter, but the effects are huge, to say the least. There's something about pushing yourself to your limits that fills you with a sense of purpose, clarity, and peace of mind. You'll feel more accomplished, you'll feel less anxious, less bored, and relating back to what I said earlier, you'll be overall more fulfilled. Many will find that they'll actually feel calmer and more content after the gym, rather than being more tired or burnt out, I guess you'd say. It's like a layer of brain fog has been lifted off of them. I've experienced it myself as well. Constructing a regular workout routine can boost your mood immensely and help regulate your endorphin levels, which is a sort of hormone that goes through your brain, regulates your emotions, your mood. It'll help it all throughout the day just from working out. And you do not, though, want to gain an addiction to this, and be sure to take adequate rest days. Being reluctant to take a rest day probably sounds really outlandish to the average person who hasn't been to a gym a lot, and it sounds almost ridiculous to about everybody. But believe me, it happens. I've been there. When you start seeing the results that you get from going to the gym, just exercise in general, and you see those numbers go up or down depending on your goals, you'll fall in love with the process too. So don't get too attached. Now, one thing I've realized is that with this process comes too the love of pursuit. Not everybody will relate, but the results of your delayed gratification will give you a greater motivation to be productive in more areas of your life, not just the gym. The productivity boost in the gym doesn't end there either. You'll have an easier time applying yourself to other unrelated goals and becoming more productive overall. The gym is the reason I'm making this video right now. And my dad is the reason I'm in the gym. Thanks, Dad. This realization boosted not only my productivity, but honestly, it's given a boost to my energy. When you get so used to pushing your body to its limits on an almost daily basis, it's almost like your everyday activities suddenly appear a lot less intimidating. Now, not only will you literally have more energy, but you'll also have what many might call aura, or more boringly, is that a word? Known as self-esteem or self-image. Now, Goggins here has a lot of aura. Be like Goggins. Now, this might not be as backed up as the science, but when you're in great shape, you feel more confident and people will recognize you for it. It's almost like a linear graph of muscle mass and respect. Having an aesthetically pleasing physique speaks paragraphs about how disciplined you are, and believe it or not, people will treat you better. Not everybody, but most, because we do unfortunately live in a world where many of our social interactions are influenced by our appearances. But hey, this is a way that you can turn that into your favor. Not only will you gain respect, but you'll boost your self-esteem and your self-image in the process. Let me get a little sidetracked and explain something really quick to spare you some pain in about a year's time, maybe. The self-esteem part of this whole deal isn't exactly linear like what we talked about a bit ago. After a year, you'll start to become very pleased with your progress, but you'll see people on social media that are 3 times your size, and that'll lead you to want more and more and more. Believe me, I've been through it. Now, don't get me wrong. This could potentially be a good driver for progress. It works for some people. But if you never pause to appreciate how good you look compared to yourself a year or even 6 months ago for some people, instead of comparing yourself to the ultra-jacked bodybuilder on Instagram, you're going to tear yourself apart inside. Body dysmorphia is a very real thing, and it affects a lot of people, and the gym especially. The key is to be grateful for how far you've come and to not be unrealistic. And like I said, compare yourself to grown men on steroids who have been training longer than you've been alive probably. And to wrap up, I'd like to say that, with all things considered, approach your entry to working out slowly, at a pace that feels only mildly uncomfortable to you, because of course, we need to experience discomfort to grow. Regardless of how much you convince yourself that you want this, and I hope you really do now, your mind will still find ways to tell you not to become uncomfortable, and you might not follow through, especially if you're tackling this adventure on your own. So, start with some ease and find your pace, and you'll be ready to start lifting some heavy metal.